I'm Asher Westropp-Evans, and this is Immutable Opinion. Now, I have a thought experiment for you. So what would happen if all of a sudden Google just disappeared? Alright, I hear you thinking, it's not so bad. There are plenty of other search engines to use. Bing. Bing's a thing, right? Bing. But today, Google isn't just a sleek search engine that seems able to predict our wants with near clairvoyant precision. Google and parent company Alphabet run our lives. From maps to mail to YouTube to calendar and two-factor authentication, not to mention the vast swath of news organizations that mostly rely on Google to disseminate and distribute information. Such is the fact that in this scenario, one of the fundamental architectures of the internet has just vanished from our lives. There is hardly an element of our digital selves untouched by the Google behemoth. So, perhaps not so surprising, this isn't an entirely hypothetical scenario. On December 14th, 2020, this exact thing happened, so to speak. According to a tweet from the Big G itself, the company suffered an authentication system outage, essentially rendering a fair hunk of their servers useless for about 45 minutes because the system could not confirm users were who they claimed to be. Google was down for less than an hour, but the outage served as a rather harsh reminder for everyone out there of how much our modern online existence relies on the centralized search engine colossus. But the thing is, this little blip is an indicator of what's at stake here. Now, back all the way in November, Amazon Web Services, Amazon's internet infrastructure service that is the backbone of many websites and apps, experienced a multi-hour outage that affected a large portion of the internet. At the time, all these companies listed here announced being impacted, and it went well beyond these public statements. AWS is one of the most widely used cloud computing services in the world, making up an estimated 40% of the cloud market. So any issues can have a major ripple effect for other web services and apps, for the likes of Netflix, Facebook, Pinterest, Slack, and dozens of other services such as those already listed with no visible connection to the company. Look, the fact is that between AWS, Google, Facebook, and others, these few gargantuan companies now hold so much centralized control of the internet that they are fundamentally embedded in how the whole thing works. If they have a problem or decide to pull a plug for any reason, the entire economy can go down. And this is the point where the classic question at the heart of the blockchain project comes in. It is inherently dangerous to centralize so much power into institutions that make up such critical elements of our lives. By contrast, a decentralized architecture, such as that proposed by a number of blockchain-based systems, prevent this form of centralized control by design. This ensures that no one person can make a call, pull a plug, initiate a decision, initiate an update, or even make a single mistake that can affect millions or perhaps even billions of people. People don't often think about these things, as they are by their very nature behind the scenes. But this is a critical question for all levels of internet users, from retail to enterprise, and perhaps especially for governments. The entire 20th century, it could be argued, was a battle over whether to centralize or decentralize power. And now it seems, as the unstoppable force of the modern internet takes hold, this question is now being resolved without people really having a say. So before we barrel ahead building a system of irreversible power and control in the hands of a few, let's perhaps consider the alternatives that are being offered by blockchain, so that the next time the question is asked, what if Google disappeared? It doesn't send us into an existential crisis from which we cannot recover. But you know what? Prove me wrong. I'm Asher Westropp-Evans, and this is Immutable Opinion.